No, it's cool or hot. Making it cooling or hot or hotting.
Cooling.
It does not matter. It is still reflected light.
So you're saying the reflected sunlight could be cooling?
Dude, I don't know. You're the one positing that
it couldn't be, dude. It couldn't be, dude.
Maybe when it bounces off the moon, it becomes fucking cold. I don't know what the fuck.
Okay, so and that's what. Listen, if we go prove it, that's what you Globers will do. That's what you Globers will do, guaranteed. You'll say, well, then that means it has to be possible.
You're whistling past the graveyard here.
No, that's what you're doing. Because you're trying to tell me that if you can show that something's possible with a demonstration, that means that it actually happens, and my claim's true because it's possible. I already rebutted that. You just cycled it, and you're whistling past my point. I didn't even get to actually make the follow-up premise yet. Because you're scared of it.
You haven't put anything in a premise, WITSIT, to start with.
My premise was that Globers falsely assumed that the globe Earth model predicts eclipses, but when NASA talks about this, they say they have to use the Saros cycle. An example of that is when the eclipse actually went the wrong way. And what that means is that
that is a flat Earth.
Oh my God!
I know it didn't technically go the wrong way, dude.
It was
I know it didn't go the wrong way, dude. I know it didn't go the wrong way. God, bro.
You say that?
Because I was trying to fucking explain it, man.
Why did you say it went the wrong way?
See, this is what y'all want to do. Y'all want to try to make me mad and lose my cool.
Why did you say it went the wrong way?
Because I was literally in the middle of a sentence. But you Globers think you know everything that I'm about to say. But you never do.
Say it was going the wrong way.
You're repeating flat Earth propaganda.
No, I'm not, and you just assume I am, and I'm trying to explain it, but you people are incompetent.
You're repeating it.
Quit explaining what you're trying to do and do it.
Well, how can I do it if I'm not allowed to do it? So, anyway.
You've got time to talk right now. You could have spent it explaining.
Okay, so... Wow, dude! I'm just going to talk over the little gamma then. So, according to the model, and it should have gone...
spiraling.
How am I spiraling? No, y'all are trying to just devolve the conversation. Y'all are trying to make me mad. Y'all are like children. I'm trying to. So, if the model's prediction was accurate, if you were just using the heliocentric model to predict the eclipse, you would expect the shadow to actually go the opposite direction from the 2018 eclipse. Now, there's an explanation within the... There's an explanation, right? It's just that it's optical illusion. It appears that way because of the relative motion.
Optical illusion. What you just said is fucking false.
Why are you interrupting? Why can't
You're an idiot. Why does anybody spend time on you, taking you seriously?
It's false, man. Instead of being curved. Explanation is out there, and it's been out there.
Yeah, all solar eclipses which move west to east. The path of the shadow moves west to east on all solar eclipses. It's not something that happened the wrong way in one of the eclipses and we had no way to explain it.
I was trying to say that. Yeah.
You were not trying to say that.
Oh, wow. Now Curve's omnipotent.
You interrupted twice.
You said the opposite.
Because I was trying to give it...
at least.
I was trying to give it context, and I don't strawman people. I don't strawman people like you guys do. So I was going to explain the official
time NASA they predicted the wrong way that the solar eclipse moved.
You
literally said that.
Yeah, I was trying to explain the official explanation at the end of it, so that I didn't strawman you. But you dumb motherfuckers have to interrupt me and scream and tout victory prior to me actually making the points.
You're lying, shit.
But literally, that's what you said, WITSIT. You said the shadow moved the wrong way. How did you explain it?
Said it actually doesn't go the wrong way. Did you miss that part?
Yeah, of course they did.
I mean, come on, man. Y'all are really...
After being pulled off.
Do you think that all the people on your side don't see that your behavior's a little bit ridiculous? Because some people DM me every day and say, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, Austin. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, Austin. Because they don't even, they think I'm wrong, dude. They think I'm wrong, dude. But they think that the way y'all act is pretty ridiculous.
You're trying to steel man him, right? And then you got to accuse of straw man.
Yes, exactly.
What's it been 20 times? Can y'all give him a go room?
That makes it an illusion, WITSIT.
I got 2 DMs yesterday asking why
what makes it an illusion, WITSIT? Why did you call it an illusion?
Right, because it isn't going to go the way that one may think because of the relative motion of the bodies. It actually goes the opposite way when we perceive it. So
Exactly.
anyway,
That doesn't make sense.
That is the literal explanation.
That literally makes sense.
Okay, so
Maybe
that's what NASA said. That's what your priest said, bro. That's what your priesthood said.
Illusion.
So when I went and listened to your priesthood, that you didn't study your religion, but you're screaming your hymns from the fucking congregation. Anyway, I also then read that they have to use the stereocycle. That's one of the main reasons they explain that they have to use stereocycle, because of the perception not being predictable originally. Now we know that it happens that way, right? But they say they have to use the stereocycle. My point is, if we're being intellectually honest, we cannot say the heliocentric model can be used to predict eclipses, because even NASA says that isn't true.
Lunar eclipses, not for solar.
Okay, well, we're talking about lunar eclipses right now.
Citation, and I will guarantee you that they're talking about the lunar eclipses, not the solar eclipses.
Okay, so you can agree then that the heliocentric model cannot predict lunar eclipses?
No, it can do it. It's just the solar cycle is easier.
That's not what NASA said.
Then bring up the citation and show it, because it doesn't say what you say.
Okay, I'll go get it in a second.
In that convoluted answer you gave us about the sun appearing to go the wrong direction and being optical and all this stuff, did you actually have an answer in there?
I said the relative motion of the bodies causes it to be perceived like the shadows going the other way.
WITSIT, I can't remember.
That's like the official explanation, and you're arguing it. So are you saying NASA's wrong? I know what I'll do. I'm just going to come in here, and I'm just going to argue what NASA says, and then y'all will automatically disagree with it because y'all are contrarians.
Hey, WITSIT, they have clarified for me that NASA thing, and whoever that doctor is that did the program for their solar cycles, apparently, like, the solar cycle ain't gonna really be as precise as if they add in, the new extra variables.
But you know why? You know why?
I just want to share that with you.
Oh, yeah, but that is interesting, but you know why? Because when the solar cycles was invented, we didn't have seconds and minutes. So, in order to get a more accurate deduction, you're going to have to add the new increments of time that we've come up with.
But what about finding the exact position and duration of an eclipse?
Just the tincture.
For every second, it'll tell you precisely where the shadow is and its duration.
More precise clocks, as opposed to the merit of the model itself. So.
And this is the thing, the selenelion eclipse doesn't work on there, but they say that it does because of refraction.
Of course the selenelion works. Look at the rules of the selenelion eclipse. Okay, now here's my question. If the selenelion... You know what the rules of the selenelion eclipse is?
What did you say?
You know what the rules are required for a selenelion eclipse and why they perfectly conform to the heliocentric model?
Well, according to the model, yes, it has to be close to the horizon. It can't be significantly higher. It can only be over a certain angle above the horizon. And whenever it's close enough to the horizon, you can have a selective window of refraction.
Sun and the moon are on opposite sides of the horizon, 180 degrees apart.
According to your religion, yeah, but
exactly
when we look at the eclipse, they're
apart.
actually, too bad when we look at the eclipse, they're up above the horizon.
They're not. Don't they?
Wait. The selenelion eclipse, the sun and moon are both above the horizon.
They're slightly above the horizon.
Well, okay, what about the selenelion that the moon's way up high in the sky, not barely above the horizon?
Happened.
So would you agree that?
Happened.
Okay, so would you agree that if that happens, that disproves your model?
It absolutely would debunk it immediately, but that's why you'll never be able to find evidence that such a thing happened.
Okay, so you agree that if the selenelion eclipse happens and the moon's high up in the sky, it debunks heliocentrism?
100% debunked. 100% debunked.
Nice.
Go ahead and provide the evidence now.
I'm supposed to get the serocycle documentation and the eclipses. Okay, and I will. Because I'm about to go to the airport, so I'll just, I'll send you all you want, man.
Also, while you're doing that, can you figure out why is it that a lunar eclipse always follows half a lunar orbit, 14 days after a solar eclipse? Why is there that relationship? Why do they come together? Why is there a solar eclipse then a lunar eclipse if it's not the moon that's creating the eclipse?
Dude, you do realize that the model was made into the reoccurring phenomena, right? Hey, is that concept elude you globers?
What a coincidence, huh?
Wait up,
coincidence that
it's
Roku
not a coincidence. You tell post-diction as if it's prediction.
Create the solar eclipse.
So one of the things that we had to do on the solar cycle is actually make corrections to it because we actually understand now the orbit of the moon much better than we did. So whilst we see there is a harmonic between the moon's orbital cycles, there are slow variations which we've had to take into account. This is why our current model is way more accurate than just relying on the Soros model. That's directly from NASA's website.
That's a cool story.
Would you like to agree with any of that?
Yeah.
I posted all of that evidence in chat. Why do you say that's a cool story when it's from NASA's website, which is what you're fucking saying?
NASA likes to tell stories. So what I'm trying to say is...
So why do you believe them when they say they use the Soros cycle then? Why is that then a valid? Because it supports your point.
No, it's called a hostile witness.
No, WITSIT. If you
have you ever been in an actual intellectual forum?
Yes, I have, WITSIT.
Then you would know what a hostile witness is.
Yeah, that's
you would
really
also know the difference in a steel man and a straw man. You would also not constantly scattergun and obfuscate.
One of the things that you do in good debate is you don't overtalk each other, which you do constantly. So if you shut the fuck up and let someone finish their point, that would be greatly appreciated.
Right.
Obviously, you've not done much debate either, because if you knew that, then you wouldn't.
Too bad that never happens here, huh?
Never.
Well, you're not letting it, so that's probably why.
Every time I came in here trying to be super nice, and I said, guys, I don't even want to argue with you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that.
One-on-one.
Super nice. I've been super nice until the point where you started trying to poison the well and straw manning by saying all globers say this, all globers say that.
Oh, no.
I didn't say all.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Globers say this, globers say that.
Globers do say that.
You did. You made one category and you dumped everybody.
All right, you're conflating post-diction with prediction. Can you respond?
No, because I don't jump.
Of course you can't respond. You can't debate.
So I want to stick on the point, which is when we look at this in detail, we can see that yes, the Soros cycle is what we use to do lunar predictions, but we've had to make corrections to it to make it accurate.
Okay. So the corrections are going to make it a more accurate prediction, right?
Yeah, because we understand the lunar orbit much better than we did.
Okay. So what accuracy is increased specifically?
What accuracy? So rather than being within a day or so, which is kind of where we were with the old Soros cycle back in the Chaldean ages, and if you read the Chaldean documentation around this, then you'll see that. But what we actually get now is something that's accurate to the second, and also the path is fully understood, and that's not something that you can do with the Soros cycle alone, because the Soros cycle just allows you to say, hey, I saw an eclipse.
To be honest, Foolish, when is the second guy? You said we know it better, but apparently it's just that one guy who writes that data for NASA.
No, there's loads of different. There's another guy.
It's modeled in Stellarium.
Name, but he holds.
Okay, you're conflating post-diction and prediction. We didn't have those increments of specificity, so we had to add in detail.
They're answering someone else's point.
One guy
obviously, WITSIT couldn't actually fucking let someone speak.
It's fine. Foolish, I did hear your answer. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean that's just really annoying, WITSIT.
Well, you were talking to me, and then someone else jumped in talking to you.
Yeah, because this is an open
forum.
All right, well, I'm going to get out of here then. Y'all stay fly, bro.
No. You're not the center of attention.
One guy invented peanut butter, too. Like we all weren't chewing peanuts before.
Well, he's saying it's more accurate maps, not necessarily the dint of the underlying assumptions of the model that have been improved. That basically it's just a general pattern with some variation, maybe, with more accurate clocks to clock that variation, but the general pattern was clocked by the Chaldeans in the Saros cycle from geocentrism.
No, again, they weren't specifically geocentric. They didn't really have that view. There's nowhere where they sort of go, the entire Earth